Hey, weirdos, it's me, Dan.
Oh, sorry, burped right at the beginning. And his brother, Jake.
Goodness.
Sorry, everyone. We got over the COVID. We're not dead.
No, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's right. That
The
was
last
a while
one was
ago.
the COVID cast like 2 months ago. Or more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite possible. I mean, you know that we're very consistent at posting episodes. I
Look,
was
we're
actually
like
listening.
we're like one of those podcasts that's infrequent but high quality.
Yeah, I know. Who else opens with a burp?
Yeah, exactly.
I've stopped my Audible subscription because I started a book and it was not very good, and I tried to return it, and they're like, "You've returned too many books. We're not going to take this one back."
No
I
kidding.
was like, "That's not fair." I quit.
Wait, when with Audible, how does it work? Because I thought you could pay a subscription cost, and then you could just listen to whatever you wanted, or you could buy them by the book.
Well, no. Well, mine is you get 1 credit a month, which every book equals 1 credit.
Oh, that's what I have too, actually, now that I think about it. But see, I buy a lot of my books on iTunes.
Oh, Audible books?
No, so I do both. So I have Audible, and like I get my credit, and then I use that,
Yeah.
and I don't buy any more. But then every once in a while I'll buy one on iTunes. But lately I've been going lately. I've been going back to books that I read before because I already have them read.
Yeah.
Somebody read them to me. I'm too lazy to read. The both of you know.
Yeah.
I cannot read a
I
word.
cannot read a word.
Hey, what's up?
Only
I'm Jake.
Canadians
I'm
would
42, and I never fucking learned how to read.
I see you found Vine.
Yeah, exactly. It's
only
funny.
been
I was
dead for
watching
a
the
few
best
years now.
vines. Yeah, the best vines, and the nostalgia bone was struck. And the funny thing is, like vines that wasn't that long ago. I was still working as a doctor. Like it's not like
Yeah,
it was a different part of my life, but they were fun to watch.
I know. I love Vines. I live for Vines.
But I like them in compilation format, like on
Yes, you
YouTube.
can-
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
best of both worlds.
Well, I think that basically, I think it used to be TikTok. Like it's the same as TikTok. You could just I never saw the Vine app. I was too old for knowing about it, and now I look
Right.
back and I'm like, I would have liked that. But I
was
feel
it an
like you
app
could
or
have
was it
scrolled
just
through.
Twitter? I thought Vines were on Twitter.
No, I'm pretty sure it was an app.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. I mean,
The thing is,
knows?
it's funny,
the
like
answer.
TikTok. The problem with that I have with TikTok is that initially, when it was advertised, well, first of all, that it's owned by the government of China,
Yeah, whatever.
and I think it is driving my son's attention span down to like maybe 4 seconds. But
But 30 seconds.
when it first came out, they advertised it with all the stupid fucking dance videos, right?
I
And
know.
it was
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And so to me, I was like, I don't get this. It doesn't make sense. And I never understood the humor. But with Vines, I never saw all the stupid stuff because I only saw the compilations of really funny ones.
Yeah.
And the memes are so good out of there.
Yeah.
My name's Michael with a B, and I'm afraid of insects. Whoa. Where's the bee? There's a bee?
I know.
That's one of my favorite ones. It's stupid, but I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And TikTok is now like it has evolved into something very similar. Well, it's basically sketch comedy. That's the TikTok that
Just
I'm on.
short
But there's
jokes.
so many different algorithms. Like if you like one thing, you'll be on a completely different sort of topic. Like there's witch talk. I liked one thing about, I don't know, herbs or something like that. And they're like, okay, well, you're a witch
Wiccan
now. It's like,
You have just damned yourself to hell by looking up.
it's like, no, I don't want this. So
Ginseng.
that's how you draw a pentagram. Okay. Right.
Ginseng Balboa, I assume you want to summon some sort of devil?
I'm watching the other thing. Okay, so Disney Plus also the best because
Yeah.
Disney's not just for kids anymore.
Well, having said that, we watched Beauty and the Beast last night. Jack had never seen it.
The real one or the cartoon one?
No, the real one. Fuck the real one. The cartoon
Yeah.
one. The real good one.
I agree. Yeah, the good one.
Yeah, that would never get made now. It's so like problematic. Like the Beast, the good guy, is like basically abusive.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, he's an animal and she's not. That's weird.
Well, I think it really kickstarted the furry craze.
Gosh. See, now, because my phone is in the room, I'm going to be on Furry Talk for the next couple of days until I try to change the algorithm, because I'm sure it listens to it.
When I first saw Avatar, I was like, I don't know if it's weird, but I'm looking for that cat lady's nipple in every scene. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I'm a furry.
Cat lady's nipple.
The blue cat lady's nipple. I was like, I bet it's dark blue, but maybe it's purple, or maybe it's just pink, or maybe it's something really cool that I haven't even thought of yet.
That would be really funny. Actually, she's got a full milk line.
She's got 6 nipples.
Yeah, that's rather bizarre. I was driving home last night, so Alice had her birthday party, because we're going to actually be in Canada for her actual birthday.
I'm so much looking forward to you guys getting to Canada.
Oh, same. I'm so excited. I was driving home, so she had all these kids, and of course Aaron drove them, and I drove myself.
Yeah.
And I was driving home, and I was like, it would be nice if we had like a little jam session when we're home. Like I could sing a few little ditties. I don't play an instrument, and this is like the train of thought. So I don't play an instrument, so it's always kind of awkward when, you just want to be like, oh yeah, I can sing, or, whatever. And I was like, well, maybe we could do something for the podcast where we film it, and I can make it look like I'm playing the guitar. And like, because I know that in what is that movie where Deliverance.
Deliverance.
Yeah. So the guy who plays the banjo, basically in that movie, and this could be completely untrue, but the actor couldn't play the banjo like that.
Well,
so they
if that
had
guy, I don't know if that was makeup or if the guy was really like hydrocephalic.
Oh, I don't know. But they basically had a guy sit behind him and put his arms through his shirt or whatever, and made it look like he was playing the banjo, but it was actually another person doing that.
No kidding.
It was like, well, Jake and I could do that. And then I was like, like for the filming, it could look like I'm playing the guitar, and it could just be someone else's arms. But then I was like, oh my gosh, it would be the best if we had like like one of our black friends or something like that
with the black hands.
And like I just kind of played it off the entire time like it was me, but it's clearly not.
I don't know. Yeah. Is he wearing gloves? What's going on here? Oh my god.
He can really play.
It's a good throwback to Russell Coight and the All Aussie Adventures, because they would always cut, like, if you haven't seen, it's on YouTube now, All Aussie Adventures. It's worth looking up for sure. But he would go to shake a farmer's hand or whatever, and they'd be both white guys, and then it would cut to like a black guy and a white guy shaking hands, like just cut of the handshake.
Yeah, the first time, like when they're talking about Bush Tucker with the Aboriginal guy, they show that handshake, and it's a close-up, and then they use that cut footage for every handshake after.
For every other handshake.
That is such a great show. There are some Aussie comedies that suck, but that is definitely not one of them. That
was when I first went to Australia. I had never heard of this thing, and you had it. And so I hung out in your apartment and watched All Aussie Adventures every day. I watched the whole series. I thought it was great.
Well, yeah. Do you remember DVDs?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking of that, because what happened was you gave me those DVDs for Christmas, because I was like, I need a copy of those. They wouldn't play in North America.
Oh,
they were
that's
coded.
Unlucky.
I guess there's
and that's that's another way that the industry has really shot themselves in the foot. Like Blockbuster or any sort of, I guess, DVD manufacturer. It's not necessarily the people who.
I'm glad we're sticking to like topical issues.
Blockbuster, that failed 20 years ago.
You know what the problem with VHS was? It was the rewind time.
But it's true though. Like, why? Do you remember when they put those, like, this thing on a CD so you couldn't rip it onto your computer and play it through your iPod?
Yeah. Yep. There
Like,
was
had they not done that, I
forget what they
feel
call
like
it,
they'd probably
DLM or
to an
something, or DLC.
yeah, I feel like they'd still be around. But who
Yeah, they
does that
wouldn't
now?
let you take the media. Like, they wouldn't let you copy it. But
Yeah.
they're, with DVDs and stuff, you knew, like, the internet's getting faster and faster. Storage is getting better and better. It's only a matter of time before we're able to store stuff on hard drives. Somebody's going to sell that. so,
Yeah.
so why shouldn't it be you guys?
Yeah.
They didn't.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Now, having
and
said
that's
all
how,
that, I don't
that's
know
how
if you've been
DVDs
paying
failed.
attention to the economy lately, but it's somebody sent me a meme that was like, man, I hope inflation doesn't get too crazy. And then underneath it's labeled inflation, and it's a picture of Amber Heard looking over her shoulder. Like,
Yeah.
It's getting pretty
I
crazy.
mean, maybe
out there.
we'll be able to use all of those CDs to reflect the heat away from our house in the summer, so we don't have to pay for air conditioning.
Well, I was just down in Mom's basement perusing Dad's VHS and DVD collection. I was like, oh yeah, these are great, but I need something to play these on.
I know. Well, maybe it'll be kind of like records, like how vinyl
come
went out, and then it's very, well, not trendy.
I don't think a smaller number of pixels will come back, except in like, as an effect. At the beginning of
Yeah, well,
Stranger
they
Things,
have that. Yeah.
when it's like playing the music, and you can see the little, like, I think they're called cigarette burns or something, but they're little like white pixels that show up, but they look like little scratches on the black background.
That the tracking,
is like the retro...
the tracking on the bottom.
Yeah, the tracking. Yeah. God,
I got to tell you though, like as this is such a boring conversation for everyone else. Who cares? But as cool as it is that we can watch videos over the internet and stuff, the technology that was able to put magnetic strip of plastic and make pictures and sounds come out of it, I think is far more impressive.
I know. Because we can all understand, I think because we've been exposed to computer stuff for so long, how a hard drive works. And although the original hard drives were magnetic, like even you probably have one in your computer now.
Floppy disks and stuff, yeah.
No, but even like the hard disk in your computer, like, if you have something that's like 10 terabytes or whatever, it's going to be magnetic. They're not going to be a flash drive. But we understand that they can store, bit data on that, and that data contains the code for a video or whatever. But I still don't really understand how magnetic tapes work, like how cassette tapes work and stuff. I'm like, I guess there's a magnet, and it goes past a coil maybe, and then that makes an electrical signal. But how does it do it in stereo?
I think it uses whisper, because I can only imagine that it's the same as like a tape, like a music tape. So it goes, okay, so man wearing red hat, and he's running down the street, and then the TV knows what that is.
It tells the TV. The TV just comes up with an image.
It was AI. It's AI.
One of the things that I had a big nostalgia kick this evening was when I found the box that contained the VHS tapes for Titanic. And I was like, wow. Oh yeah, you had to change tapes in the middle of this movie.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Near, far, wherever you are.
I remember like that was such an amazing movie to watch.
Well, we used to watch movies. Do you remember like we'd have like Catherine and Nuala or whoever over after in the summer? Like we basically had the house to ourselves because Mom and Dad wouldn't be there during the day, and we would just watch movies. We watched old like Aladdin and all the
I
Disney
had to
movies.
explain this to Aaron and my children that we were not supervised.
We were totally unsupervised.
But like Mom she didn't work, so I don't know where she was, but we just did our own thing all the time. Like I don't remember. I know that we went on holidays with Mom and Dad, but I don't remember them being at home.
Well, I had a job once I was in high school. I was working in the summer, so
what? Oh, rowing.
Yeah, I ran the rowing club, the Learn to Row program, for a couple of years, and then I worked at the Hospital Foundation for a couple of years.
I worked at that bookstore.
Yeah, for a day. You went for one day and then never went back.
Yeah. Well, I got $17 for the day's work, and the next day, and I spent it. And the next day, I asked Dad for $20 to go to the movies, and he just gave it to me. And I was like, "Well, that was way easier."
And I think the thinking was, Dan liked Harry Potter. Dan likes books. Dan should work in a bookstore.
I had to read, what's that turtle's name? He's like the shy
Franklin?
turtle. Yeah, I had to read children the Franklin books, and I was like, and Franklin went to shops, the shops, and so yeah, it wasn't for me. Any work is not really for me. My goal has always been to retire, so I'm ready.
He's holding out for management.
I'm just so tired all the time. I went to the doctor.
Now that's hit me too.
I went to the doctor because, well, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to retire because physiologically my body is 85 years old. But I went to the doctor. I went to the optometrist actually first, and I was like, getting my glasses, and she was like, "It looks like you've got some cholesterol buildup on your on your retina." And I was like, "What?" How? Okay.
Cholesterol rings on your eyeball?
Yeah, and I went to the doctor and I was like, well, maybe I'll get this checked out. Like, this is obviously not straight away. We waited 3 to 6 months.
Went to the optometrist and I was like, man, I'm feeling so depressed. And she's like, I'm an optometrist. You were like, yeah, so I was hoping you could make me feel more optimistic.
Hey, shut up, Doug. Well, I went to the doctor. Anyway, I told her what the optometrist had told me, and she was like, oh, you're pretty young for that. I was like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Honestly, I feel like I've got to go in to get the results for these bloods. Well, they're going to do it over the phone. Yeah. So, usually every other time the receptionist just goes, well, your CRP is up and everything else is fine. You're all G. But this time they want to have a chat. So I feel like if she says, oh, look, I mean, this is quite remarkable. You've got all the signs of a patient in palliative care who's actively dying. How? I don't understand. I'd be like, no, that checks out.
Explains some shit.
Sounds about right. I mean, I'm already dead inside.
So you got blood work done, and now they want to bring you in to talk about your blood work?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, yeah. It's non-urgent. So they've got urgent and non-urgent.
They're like, things that are non-urgent include like leukemia. Urgent is stuff that we need to treat you right away so we can bill before you die. But,
yeah, it is flesh-eating disease in your brain. You better come in.
Brain amoebas. I got my blood work done. I think we talked about this on the podcast, and there's a marker that they look at called ferritin, and it's like a marker of hemochromatosis, and mine was like 800 times the normal limit. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I have hemochromatosis. Anyway, I got the genetic testing done for hemochromatosis, and they were like, no, you're just fat.
You eat too much red meat.
I see. Okay, I'm gonna have to pump the brakes a little bit here on my eating. I quit drinking. I think I quit drinking on the COVID cast. Yes,
yeah, but that's not just that can't. That
was like 3 months ago.
Last. Yeah.
Well, so I'm 3 months in now, and but man, as soon as I quit drinking, I started eating too much. Like every fucking day, I would just stuff my fat face.
Just eating all the hops, all the barley, and just hoping that it will ferment in your stomach.
I'm just gonna eat this turbo yeast and a bunch of dextrose because I really need alcohol right now, but I can't drink it. So it's been a journey. I've been sober, like stone cold sober since then. I never even like smoked any dope or anything. Which
well, buckle up because I'm coming home. So
if I'm on vacation, maybe we can we'll get into some shenanigans. But I don't want to I don't want to drink too much alcohol or any alcohol.
No, well,
because I told Chrissy I'm going to do a year.
I don't drink a lot of alcohol.
Yeah.
Like I can count on one hand how many drinks I've had in the last month.
Yeah.
Like it's not a lot, but I do enjoy, like, the thing I like when I go home is all the different beers that exist.
There's a lot of
like
beer.
here, yeah, and here there's nothing like that. And if you do, like, some of it is just so fucking awful.
The stuff
So
there?
I just like to, yeah, like some
like
of it
the
is so
Australian beer.
bitter. Well, they're trying to, like, I know, but they're doing the microbrew now. Like, we're always about 10 years behind the rest
I
of the
see.
world.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, microbrews are a thing. And you go and, ooh, it's like dandelions. It's like eating
I find
dandelions.
IPAs. Just a second, I'm going to turn up the gain on this a little bit because I just noticed how quiet my thing was. I find IPAs do taste like dandelion stems. I don't know what it is, what it is about it, but some of them I can still really enjoy. There's one here that you might like called Juicy IPA. Man, it's like it tastes like oranges and
I like the mass appealing, like Alpine and Sam Adams.
I like Sam Adams, Anchor Steam, Fat Tire. Those ones are all good beers. I do like a little bit of bitter in my beer, but not that much bitter.
I don't like it sweet,
and I don't
either.
like hazy.
So just
IPAs.
for those listening at home who are enthralled by our what tastes good to us, I apologize. I'm sorry.
I got a weird story for you. I don't think I've told you about this. So the other day, I had Jack in the car, and I'm parking in the driveway now under a tree. And he was eating in the back seat, and I wasn't really thinking about it. And the next morning I had to go to work, and I was late for work, and I got stuck in traffic. And while I was in the car, in traffic, on the highway, with cars on either side of me, all gridlocked, I felt this pinch in my ball bag, like a really tight pinch. I thought, oh my God, my ball slipped out of my underwear or something and got pinched. And so I kind of wiggled around, but I couldn't do anything about it. Then suddenly I got one on the other side. And I was like, oh my God, there's fucking insects in my underwear. There's insects on. And I reached down and I pulled out this big fat black ant off my balls. And I could feel other ones moving around in my underpants. And I was like, oh my God. And I couldn't get out of the car. And traffic started moving, and I had to follow so I was like reaching down and trying to squish them with my hands. So in total, I got to the hospital, and I had all these bites on my balls, and I hobbled in to the washroom and pulled my underwear down, and there were 6 dead squished black ants in my underpants.
Why do you have ants?
Because
literally
they
in
went
your pants?
into my car. They'll go into your car to forage for food if you park under a tree.
And they crawled up your pant. You reckon they crawled up your pant leg?
Well, I wonder if I have diabetes. Like, that's how they figured out, when you cut out a dog's pancreas and the pee attracts ants.
No.
I was like, does my dick smell like sugar?
No, that's not a thing.
What's going on here?
That's not a thing either.
That's how Frederick Banting discovered what the pancreas does.
No, well, listen, I feel more like it's like you hung your clothes out to dry and ants crawled into them.
Now, it is interesting that you say that because my clothes were, I believe, hung out to dry.
Yeah.
My pants. But
just be glad that it's ants, because here we've got white-tipped spiders, and if they bite you, your skin melts away.
Yeah, no, the ant bites were painful, but not deadly. Not Australian levels. I've
had, I've put so things that I've found in whilst putting on pants or shirts more likely is they sit in a basket because I'm a lazy piece of shit. They'll sit in the laundry basket until I'm like, I've run out of clothes and I have to put my clothes away. So then I'll fold them up and put them away. So this has come off the line, sat in a laundry basket for days, if not a week, then has been folded up and put into a drawer or hung up in the closet.
Yeah.
I've put my hand into a shirt and found a lizard. So who knows how long that has been sitting there. I've put my foot into my boot and found a huntsman spider.
Oh, God.
And we went to hang out the laundry once, and Erin reached in to get a clothes peg out of the little hanging basket from the clothesline, and there was a giant snake in there, and she grabbed it. So, look, I mean, the ants and their bites, awful.
Not as big a deal.
And
Yeah.
No. Well, look, any insect biting my nut bag, I'm not happy about.
Do you remember,
things
this is
could
a
be much
Memberberry
worse.
story, but
Remember?
one year we drove down to Florida with Mom and Dad, and we stopped in the Smoky Mountains. And one of the things you can do, there's like tubing that you can do in the Smoky Mountains. And we went tubing, and I had a bathing suit that then was wet, and we were camping. And we hung it outside to dry. And when I put it back on, it was full of fire ants. And they bit my dick and balls and my legs and thighs and everywhere else. This was exactly like that. It felt the exact same.
Where was it that we were driving and that gigantic bug hit you in the forehead?
That was actually in North Carolina on the way to South Carolina. No, it was in Tennessee. What the hell was that
Could
called?
you imagine driving that? Like, who would?
But it was like an
drive
insect
that now?
preserve. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were
And
driving,
we came up with that. Do they still have Motrin? And do they still make those Motrin commercials?
I don't watch TV. I don't know. But Motrin, the Motrin commercials were like somebody would get hurt. It would be like there's pain. There'd be a minor injury and then like a major injury. And they'd be like, and then there's Motrin pain.
And there's Motrin pain. Yeah. Because we always joke that yours would be like because you had your head out the window or something. And that big bug hits you in the forehead. And you'd be like, there's pain. And then you'd be driving along and you'd have this welt in the middle of the forehead and then you'd hit your head on a mailbox. And that's Motrin pain.
The bug that came into the car, it must have been a cicada or something. It was a big bug and it hit me square in the forehead. It was, those were good.
Oh my gosh.
Those were good trips.
So we went to the beach when Mum was here and we had a week in, I guess, more, it's not tropical Queensland, but it's more tropical Queensland than where we are. So about a 5-hour drive north, which is warmer compared to,
it's the opposite
south,
of the northern hemisphere. Yeah.
So we drove north and Mum was in her room and she goes, Dan, there's a big bug. Can you come get it? And it was a cicada and it was like buzzing and zzz. And they give me the heebie-jeebies. I don't think they do anything like
no, it's just
bite
the sound
anything.
though. It sounds kind of like a didgeridoo and kind of like
it was it had come in her open window and I grabbed it with a tissue and I put it back out and I closed the window.
Yeah.
I could see it sitting right there outside the window.
Yeah.
5 seconds later, she's opening the window. It flies back in. I'm like, no. You're on your own. And it went under her pillow.
Oh, God.
She was like, no, I can't sleep here. Help me. I was like, I'm doing it one more time. Do not open the fucking window again. I don't like it.
The good news, Lynn, is that we got the bug out of your ear. The bad news is it was a female, and
it's laid eggs. Did you see that picture that I sent through to you?
Which one?
Well, yesterday for Alice's birthday, one of our friends gave me a book, and she's Canadian and she lives here, and her son came to this birthday party. Okay. And it's a notebook, but it's Fast Forward to Success, Business, the Johnny Rose Way. And it's the cover of this book, and it's Johnny Rose from Schitt's Creek leaning up against a videotape.
Okay.
It's just, and it,
Fast Forward to Success. Okay.
The testimonial is, read this now. Sunrise Bay's Moira Rose. It's just so good. It's such a great. It's just a notebook after. It's not really Fast Forward to Success. The business.
Mom gave me one that said the book was called "The Wisdom of Trudeau." Trudeau's greatest political feats or whatever. Then you open it and every page is blank.
Well, 5 or more years ago, Mom and Dad gave me one of those, daily. It's like a daily calendar, so you rip the page off every day, and it gives you another quote. And this one is the quotable asshole. And what I do is I'll leave one quote up for a couple of weeks or more in the bathroom. And then when I'm tired of that one, I'll rip it off. So it's been there for quite a while. But the most recent one is, I've cut out, all heavy drinking, I'm eating more healthy. I'm off sugar, and for the last 14 days. And at the end of that period, I've lost 2 weeks.
That's true. That's how I feel
that's
with
topical.
the last 3 months. We, my gosh, we've had, so you knew about the camp adventures and misadventures, and there's some that I can't really talk about on the podcast, even though they're hilarious. But one thing that happened, I had to mow the lawn because the guy who was doing it took a better job. So,
oh no,
yeah. So
you are
just
groundskeeper
now.
now.
Me taking care of the place now, which is good because I also lost half of my life savings in the stock market. So it's, it worked out for the best. But I have a ride-on lawnmower, and I drove it into a sinkhole that has developed on the property.
It's probably over like the septic.
No, it's over the old camp that they burned down and then buried in the yard. So
oh my gosh!
I called them and I was like,
"You did get a house inspection done before you bought this place, right?"
No, that was one of the conditions, was no inspection.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Because, well, I mean, it would have failed inspection anyway. But one of the bank, the bank that you go down the stairs on, that bank collapsed and fell into the river. The sinkhole opened up, which I filled with hundreds of dollars of topsoil, and hopefully that'll do the trick. It's been one pleasure after another. But the funny thing is, so I haven't been up in 3 weeks, right? Like I work when I'm working, it's feast or famine. So I work, and then week off, right? So, but do you remember last year I was telling you about the Pentecostal minister who was my fishing guide?
Yep.
So he called me and he was like, "Hey, did you buy the Dean Bar fishing camp?" And I said, "Yeah." Yeah, he said, "Do you need a guide because Pat's gone? And I don't know if you have people coming up who need a guide, like Americans or whatever." And I said, "Yes, I do, in fact," because he's totally reasonable. And so I put him in touch with them, and it worked out. I found a guide for these people coming up to rent it. Now, I was only renting it out to pay Pat, and now that Pat's gone, well, I'm probably not going to rent it out other than this year. But anyway, outside of that, so I got him, but then he went out. He said, "Do you mind if I go up and fish it so I can sort of figure out what the water's like?" So, "No, not a problem, Bonner, not a problem." So he went up and fished it, and then he called me and he was like, "You really need this lawn mowed, urgently." I said, "Oh?" He said, "It's like a hayfield, but higher." He said, "I think we might need to bush hog it." I said,
Oh gosh.
"Oh." I said, "Well, I'll be up Sunday to mow the lawn. I'm driving up and then back the day after tomorrow, just to get the lawn done, and I've got to bring mattresses up because I built a bunk bed, and these guys are coming up to stay, and there's no mattresses on it." So
I know you tried to rope me into that.
Well, I'm going to do it this weekend. I'm going to try and do it this weekend. But anyway, so he's offered to sort of take on the lawn mowing job, which I hope he's willing to do it, and then I would happily pay Bonner to do it. But you might be stuck meeting Bonner after all, but he's a nice guy.
No, well, I mean, hopefully he's open to a bit of foul language.
Yeah, well, I talked to him about that. I said, "Bonner, I can't guarantee that I'll be saving you from foul language." He said, "I've been a fishing guide here for 30 years. Do you know what kind of language because I hear on a daily basis?" I said, "I have no fucking idea, Bonner." What kind?
Yeah, so before this podcast, I was at Elijah's soccer game.
Yeah.
And I get so into it.
Yeah, watching them play or?
Yeah, watching them play. And the last game, not today's, but the last one, I said fuck really loud, a few times.
Did somebody have a word with you?
No one said anything. I'm just like, "Oh man, that was not good, Daniel. Get it together." Yeah. So today, I went and I did control myself, but I said it twice.
I find with soccer, I just walk when he's in soccer practice. Like I walk around the field over and over again.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any time to exercise otherwise. But with basketball, I get really into watching him play basketball because that was my sport, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember being so upset when Dad would like come up to me after practice and be like, "Here's what you did wrong. This is what I'd always be embarrassed." And then I was the dad doing it. And I was like, "Oh, sorry, Dad." I don't know if you guys are having the same issue we are with inflation, but this is like a different topic. But our inflation is now like higher. It's probably 10% or more. They say it's 8%, but they don't count gas or housing in that. So.
I honestly, I don't pay any attention because.
But when you buy groceries, are they super expensive now?
I don't buy them. Aaron
them.
takes my. It's worth the hand. Aaron does the grocery shop. I pay for them, but I don't see what we get. I just, the money is there and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And I've stopped watching the news because it's always bad. So,
yeah. I feel really depressed every time I watch the news.
I don't even watch, I don't even watch the morning happy news. Like, it's just, I don't pay any attention to what's going on around me.
Then you'll never find out who busted their plugger.
I know. Well, those
the fishing
stories,
team, the mutt dangers.
And this is really funny and sad, but the really important stuff kind of does filter through on Facebook or on TikTok. Like the whole Johnny Depp trial. Did you follow that?
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like I could prosecute a bitch now.
Did you see, did I already tell you, like, oh my God, maybe I've been getting Alzheimer's, but did I already tell you about my friend sending me the meme that was like, it says me, geez, I hope inflation doesn't get too crazy.
Yeah.
And then inflation, and it's a picture of Amber Heard turned around
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah. It was so good. And yeah, I thought it was the best 6 weeks to watch TV.
And I don't want to sound like I'm super I believe in a fair justice system. Like, as you know, I rail against all this identity politics bullshit. Like, when everything is, and now maybe it's because I'm a white male, but nonetheless, I think it's absolute bullshit that there are different sets of rules depending on your gender or your race or your sexual preference or whatever. The rules are just the rules, and you should follow them, and that's how society should function, right? If you break the rules, it should be the same. I mean, there are extenuating circumstances. If you steal because you're starving to death versus if you steal because you're an asshole, but the rules are there for a reason. So what I thought was good about that trial is that, like, I'm so tired of this. Look, I'm going to sound like a men's rights activist. I'm not, but all this bullshit about, we believe women, like the fucking Prime Minister of Canada, when, what's her name went up against Jian Ghomeshi, Lucy from the Trailer Park Boys, and he was like, believe her or whatever, and it's like verdict before trial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like guilty before proven innocent.
Exactly, guilty no matter what comes out in the trial. This was kind of good for things like turning a little bit the other way to be like, even people I know who are reasonable people, like who are very progressive, were like, yeah, she's fucking crazy. Like you could tell.
Yeah.
Like I felt like, and then everybody was like, for a while, all the progressives were kind of like, well, they're both crazy and it's a toxic relationship. I was like, no. It's like,
yeah.
He might
honestly,
be a drug addict or whatever, but he's not a wife beater. And that was clearly like she, doctored photos and then sent screenshots to the trial so they couldn't like look at the data. And they had an expert say, yeah, these are doctored photos. And I was like, yeah,
I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, and that's when
crazy. And like people seem to accept that. Yeah, some people are crazy, even people of the fairer sex. Sometimes.
Well, and that was the real turning point. Like for me, well, I mean, I'm not a CIA operative who can tell when people are lying, but I've got a pretty good gut, and I can tell when but when she said bruise kit.
I know.
I was like,
No.
oh,
Bullshit.
that is full bullshit.
Rhymes
And
with bullshit.
yeah, and the other one was the photos that she said that she had one in the morning and one at night or something like that. I was just like,
Well, also like taking
why would you
videos
even-
of him having like a meltdown.
yeah,
Like, what kind of a fucking spouse does that? Like,
Yeah,
when you're
I
married to
know.
somebody, you're on a team, and it's you two against the world. And what kind of a fucking asshole does that to their spouse, who's supposed to be
Yeah.
on your team?
yeah,
Um,
it
yeah.
was. It was messy for both of them, but I feel like
Yeah, they're
I
both
think
Holly
the truth
weird.
did
I mean,
come
they're
out.
both weirdos, but
Yeah.
and not in the good way, like our listenership.
Oh my gosh! But how about that psychiatrist, Dr. Spiegel?
Yeah, how do they find? Look, in real life, psychiatrists don't look like that.
Oh my gosh!
gosh.
It was wild.
Was Spiegel the weird guy who kept chewing on
Yes,
the empty
tongue
air?
thrusting.
And who was the girl, the lady with like the perfect hair and the glasses?
Oh
She
yeah,
puts on her
that was
glasses. You're like
Dr.
whoa.
Hughes.
Yeah.
No, Dr. Curry.
Look, I went through medical school. I know everybody in the medical system in this entire area. Nobody looks like that. So don't get your hopes up when you're like, geez, I'm feeling a little depressed. I know who would cure my depression.
Yeah, Dr. Curry.
No.
Yeah, and
The psychiatrists here look more like the other guy with the tongue thrust and the weird tics. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so wild. And I loved the reaction that Johnny Depp had to him when he was like, he was doing something with his tongue and it was making sounds like you could hear them in the microphone. And Johnny Depp was just like, what?
What is happening?
Looks close. Like, what is this even?
Now, I was
Yeah.
worried at the beginning because I don't like. Look, it's just me, and it's not fair to a lot of people. There are a lot of good, I'm sure, a lot of super nice celebrities, but I don't like this celebrity worship culture that we have. And like
Oh,
you
yeah.
knew, there were all these people out there. No matter what happened, they were going to love Johnny Depp, right? Johnny.
Yeah.
Like they're saying that at the beginning and at the end. Also, how fucked up was that? The Sic Semper Tyrannis seal on the Virginia courthouse.
I don't know. I didn't see.
Okay,
that.
so the courthouse seal says Sic Semper Tyrannis, and it's a picture of somebody like stepping on a body with a spear sticking in them or a sword maybe. And what was weird to me is that Sic Semper Tyrannis is what John Wilkes Booth said after he jumped down onto the stage after shooting Lincoln. And it means thus always to tyrants. But it's weird that would be on an American courthouse. Anyway. But yeah, I was worried. Where I was going with that was that I was worried that this would turn into like a popularity contest. And I think it very
always-
well could have.
Yeah.
Except that
Here's a
the
question.
evidence was so strong as to this person is really whacked. Like, I think she, and I don't like to make fun of people with mental illness, but I do think she has bipolar disorder, which, of all the mental illnesses to have, that's the one that irritates me the fucking most.
You know how the statue of justice or whatever, she's
Not
always
bipolar.
blindfolded.
What am I trying to say? Not bipolar. What's the personality disorder that everything's black
Narcissistic?
and white? No. Borderline personality disorder. Sorry. I shouldn't have
I
said
don't know what that is either.
Lots of great people are bipolar, including many of my friends. But borderline
Maybe
personality is when everything is drama, everything's black and white. You're either 100% with me or 100% against me. It's kind of like a Twitter mob, but in your mind all the time. You know what I mean? It's really irritating. They're really irritating people to deal with. And it doesn't cause any intellectual deficiency. So they can end up...
They can thrive.
Anywhere. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I dated a girl with borderline personality, and she was just absolutely fucking crazy. And I still, to this day, like, it's not like I'm bitter. It was 20 years ago. But
You know what I've started
nuts.
doing to people? Okay, so I know that are you Facebook now, or are you on not Facebook?
I'm on there, but I don't contribute.
Yeah. So on Facebook, every day almost, you'll get a notification that one of your friends is having a birthday. And
Okay, yeah,
what I've started to do is, I was telling this to Brent and Sarah, And I was like, am I bad? Am I a bad person for doing this? But it will say like, Joe Blow's birthday is today. Wish them happy birthday. And if I've spoken to them, or if I've like seen them in real life, or if I just like them, I'll wish them a happy birthday. I think that's reasonable and polite. If I have not, I unfriend them right then and there on their birthday.
You're right. Happy birthday.
Because I'm like,
we were never really friends.
I don't write anything on their thing. I just like, do I care about this person? No. It's. I guess it's like the Marie Kondo.
It's like the test of the litmus test of whether I want to ever see this person again.
Yeah,
or if I care, happy birthday, or is it easier just to delete them as a friend?
Yeah, and like if I saw them in like the superstore or something like that when I'm home, is it just going to be small talk, or am I going to know the name of their kids and we're going to like be like, hey, we should catch up and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
If I think it's small talk, I'm like, gone. I don't need this in my life. I don't want to be Facebook friends even.
There's nothing worse than seeing somebody at the superstore, and the thing that really irritates the shit out of me is that sometimes it's people that I see every fucking day at work, like for hours and hours, and you see them in the grocery store. It's like, let's have a conversation and fuck up this aisle for the whole... I don't want to. I don't even... I just want to get my shit and get out. And it's nothing against people. Like, I'm not a people person in general. And I find... I don't know how you are, but after the pandemic... Well, I'm sure it's, still going on, but after I gave up on trying not to
after
get
we
sick,
stopped caring about it.
I find it really hard to reintegrate into society in a meaningful way and to have an adult conversation of any kind without being super awkward. And
I'm
like
awkward.
at soccer practice, I'm there. A lot of the other dads are there who are people I work with. And I have a really hard time holding a conversation without either saying something offensive or saying the same thing twice, or even without stumbling over my own words. But having said that, weirdly, I was walking at the soccer practice, like I said, and one of the mums joined us. And she was listening. She had her iPod or AirPods in. She took them out. I said, "Oh, what are you listening to?" She said, "Oh, podcast." I said, "Oh, what kind of podcast do you listen to?" She said, "You wouldn't like it. It's just filth." I said, "You're kidding." I said, "I probably would like it." She said, "It's 1 foot in the grave." I said,
"Oh no!
Not only do I like it, I'm in it."
I'm it.
And she said, "No kidding. Somebody else here recommended it to me." And it was Corey.
I
was like,
this,
that guy's so
I mean,
great.
this
He's
episode
like
probably has been
spokesperson.
the cleanest. I think it's because I'm so tired.
Well, it's not. She didn't say filth. She said, "Oh, I just started listening to this one." But it's kind of dirty. And she had recommended another one that she is listening to the whole back catalog of. And I'll have to ask her next time I see her because I can't remember the name of it. But it sounded really
gosh.
funny.
Well, I told you that I canceled my audio, what is that called?
Audible
subscription. So I didn't do it in the best time frame. 2 weeks ago, I flew to Mackay, which is a 2-hour-ish flight.
Yeah, sure.
Then I did a couple days in Mackay. Then I drove for 6 hours to another place, and I spent a couple days there. And then I drove for, I thought it was 4 hours. Turns out it was 8.
Oh my gosh.
Back home. So I set myself up for failure. I thought it was going to be 3, 4, 5, or 6 hour drives.
Yeah.
But the last leg was 8 hours. The only saving grace was
podcast.
And I listened to My Favorite Murder the whole way because I know that it kind of keeps me entertained-ish.
Yeah.
And awake. And the book that I had bought and they wouldn't return was just so badly narrated I couldn't stand it.
I've got some news on the book front, by the way.
But wait, it was a self-driving car.
Wait, you were in a self-driving car?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Your rental
It wasn't
car
like
drove
a
itself, or was the road?
yeah.
just
It
really
wasn't like a
straight?
Tesla or anything. Like I still had to like stop at stop signs and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it would like you'd set the
map.
speed, and no, I still had to steer and navigate. So I guess it wasn't fully like it wasn't like a fully
Actually kind of
self-driving
sounds like
car.
you were driving.
Well, I was, but it like did all the steering within the lanes, and if it came up behind a car, it would just slow and stop, and then when the car ahead went, it would go. Oh, am I by myself?
Nope. I'm here. My chair is stuck on my headphones. Just a second.
I was having flashbacks to that car drive home. I was all by myself. Yeah, so
that's
it was
cool.
kind of cool. Like, yeah, so that made it a little bit more interesting because it gave me something to do while I was driving.
Yeah.
And then when I got into my own car, it felt really weird to have to like push the brake at stop signs and stuff if there was no one in front of me.
I found the murder, my favorite murder podcast. There were two things I didn't love about it, and I listened. I mean, look, it's much better than this podcast. But there were two things that I kind of
Most
stopped
are.
listening to it because of. So one of them was, I don't know, it kind of gets a little bit too much joy out of true crime. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
There's a meme, there's a TikTok for that. It's like, her arms were cut off, her legs were cut off, her tongue was cut out, her eyes were plucked out, her hair was cut off, her liver
Yeah.
was torn out.
And they're like,
And-
it's party atmosphere.
I feel like, actually, in the most recent ones, I feel like they've become a little desensitized to how graphic some of the things are, and it kind of feels like their shock is a little bit canned. Like, they're not really
Yeah.
shocked about these things
And
anymore.
when they're like,
It-
"Oh, sweet
but-
baby angel," they're just saying the stuff that they know is going to make them look like they're good people. But I'm not convinced that they are. And that's not
Yeah,
a bad
well, I mean-
thing. But if you were more upfront that you're not a good person, I think I'd be more likely to like your podcast.
yeah,
Like when I listen to
but
True
I
Crime
do
Garage, they give you, they just give you the facts, but they're also, they have good opinions, but they also are self-deprecating. They're like, well, yeah, we're not exactly, we don't exactly
Yeah.
know what we're talking about here, but
Yeah, but
I like that better.
I
Maybe
think
I'm a
that it's
woman
still
hater.
good.
Maybe I'm a late incel.
No, I mean they
I
clearly
don't like Amber
have
Heard. I don't like
no.
you know.
no, they clearly have a demographic that they're going for, and I think it's females that
But
enjoy
it's
true crime.
very transparent. I think that okay, so that's one thing. Anyway, that's not really the big thing. The other thing that has got me is how woke it is. Like how it's very anti-Republican. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican.
I don't know. You know, I don't
but
know
they
the difference.
Hate Republicans.
So
And I'm like, man,
here's-
that doesn't help anything. Being that divisive, that's fucking crazy.
But wait, how? I don't know how the political system works in the States because people will you get certain tax breaks depending on which
No.
party you belong to.
No.
Like,
No. What it
they're
is
they're registered Republican for the tax breaks, but it's actually Democrat. Like I don't understand.
No. So okay, so there are only two parties in the States, basically the Democrats and the Republicans. And the Republicans are for small government and low tax. Be like the conservatives. I mean, this is broad strokes. They're pro individual rights, so it's like gun rights and stuff. They would protect gun rights, and they're for lowering taxes, letting businesses thrive, and well, I say that, other people say, oh, it's pro corporate brown nosers, whatever, but also for lower individual taxes, but you're also responsible for more of your own shit with them, right? The healthcare stuff wouldn't come up, like they wouldn't universalize healthcare. So there are ups and downs to each party, right? The Democrat Party is more like pro big government. So government should have its hands in everything, more regulation. And lately, what bugs me about them is that they're more about redistributing money that exists instead of creating new money. Like instead of creating opportunities, they're more focused on taking money from a successful industry and giving it to, improve healthcare access for whatever identity politics, demographic.
Well, we just got a new prime minister here, actually.
I know, he's already, super woke.
Well, the last one was Scott Morrison, and his nickname, I suppose, was ScoMo.
Yeah.
And the new guy is Anthony Albanese.
Okay. But he's already been as a minority growing up, and I was like, dude, no.
Well, his nickname, if we go on the same premise, will be Anal, which I just think is the best. And the kids were yelling it while I was going in to vote. But as I was going in to vote, that one of the parties was like, vote for us. We're going to take more money from billionaires and give you free dental.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's...
There aren't enough billionaires. That's here, too. That's a big Canadian thing, right? So what's happened here, what's so fucked up, and then this is just, a side note, that we have a government that's all about redistributing money and making, take from the rich and give to the poor, we've got Messiah complex or whatever. And that's another big one, is tax billionaires to start a dental program and, free pharmaceuticals for everyone and whatever. But they printed $500 billion during COVID, and working with the central bank so that they could print all this money, and they dropped interest rates to almost zero. And now, pardon me, I'm burping. Now, there was so much overstimulation of the economy, and there's no goods available to buy. So the prices of everything are going up and up. So if you got, say you got CERB and you got $2,000 a month for free for not doing anything, just for staying home. Yeah. You've lost that in how much more expensive it is just to live here now. It's probably up by $6,000 or $7,000 a year just for everyone, for gas prices, food prices, everything. People are really
I think
upset.
The gas prices have something to do with the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
That's part of it. There's gas, gas and wheat, of course, right? There's going to be a food crisis, but on top of that, they created way too much supply of money with never took care of the fact that there's no goods to buy, and they created this monster of an inflation environment, and they're looking for someone to blame, but they'll never look in the mirror and be like, maybe we shouldn't have given out so much money. Maybe we should have printed $500 billion. They spent as much in the year after COVID as the entire history of Canada in terms of accumulated debt. They borrowed as much money as they had in 100 and whatever years before that.
So one of the things I love about Australia and Canada, and I guess every other nation in the world except for the US, is that we have centralized healthcare. People don't necessarily have to pay for that. If you got COVID in the US, did you have to pay for?
If you're working and you have a job, in the US, you're going to buy health insurance, right? So you're still paying. The myth here is that healthcare is free. It isn't free.
No, I don't.
It's universal.
People know that they're paying taxes.
I don't want to work in the States, and I would work in the States. Actually, I don't care. But the idea of turning someone away is upsetting to me. Saying no, you can't have care because you can't pay for it. But at the same time, if you're contributing to society and working and everything else, you're going to pay for your health insurance instead of just paying the extra. I pay 60% income tax or 53.75% income tax. If I was in Florida, I'd be paying I don't know. Somebody could answer this for us and send us an email, but certainly not 53% or 54%.
Yeah,
is significantly less, right? So to get public health care here, it's probably costing me, $100,000 a year personally out of my taxes, compared to, how much would I spend on insurance? Probably $15,000, $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
So
but if you broke your leg, or I don't know, say you broke your leg and you got I don't know, some flesh-eating disease or some weird shit happened,
Yeah, you
which
get real sick,
happens to people all the time, you're up for millions of dollars in bills.
Well, it's really weird. They have a whole system for it. So there's like, you negotiate your bills with the hospital. So
That's
the
so
price
bizarre,
they give you
though.
is never the price that ends up getting paid, which is crazy to me. But then I look at the prices, like I get paid to read an x-ray. I get paid, depending on what it is, $5 to $8, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the States, like I had an x-ray done in the States when I was, we were in Florida, and I got like, I don't know, some crazy allergic reaction. And the x-ray was like $390. And sure, there's a part of that's going to be the technical fee or whatever. But, we didn't negotiate it. I just paid it. But at the same time, I was like, so I'm getting $8 and they're getting $390. So obviously there's some wiggle room there. And I think that's by design. And then
There's someone at my house. Hold on.
Oh.
I don't know who this is. Got very dark windows.
The thing that kind of scares me right now that's happening in the States is that private equity is buying up all the hospitals. And
Oh, I know. Yeah, I saw that thing that you sent through.
it just makes my stomach turn, like the idea of working for somebody else after all this time. I can only work for me, and I work hard. Like I work my ass off, and I'm efficient, and I work hard. But I would not like working by somebody else's rules, taking on the liability, and they take the profit. Fuck you, never gonna happen. I would not agree to it. But what happens is those private equity firms negotiate with the insurance companies, and then the insurance companies will only send their patients to doctors of those private equity firms.
I know. Yeah, well, the dentist here is in the same, like it's been bought out by a giant health insurance company.
But if I was a doctor, if I was a doctor in the States, I would try to organize with other doctors to have our own private equity firm, and just it costs you more up front, but at least then you own yourself, you own your own business, and then you can be super competitive with that environment. But I would not, I could not handle working for somebody who knows nothing about medicine.
I know. Yeah, it
drives me
It would
crazy.
be a schmozzle.
Right now, we have enough problems with our hospital administration, and they make fucking idiotic decisions that...
that, folks, is the real spooky nature of this podcast episode.
I feel like...
capitalism.
I feel like this story is about as riveting as when you watched the Star Wars prequels and you were like, hey, it's going to be Darth Vader and lightsabers and stuff, and it was like... The mechanisms of legislature and...
I know.
It's like, this is so boring.
I know.
Speaking of boring, let me tell you my mulch story. So we decided to save some money because of inflation and stuff. And usually, but once every 3 years, I hire some landscapers to put mulch down in our gardens. And this year, Chrissy said, well, I'd like to do it in red. We've been black for years. Let's do red this time. I said, okay. So I went up to Kent's and I bought 20 bags of mulch. They're like $3 each. I was like, okay, this will do. And I spread it, and it spread over about 1/10 of our garden. It's like, yes. Oh no. I had to go back 6 times to buy mulch. And about halfway through the 3rd truckload of mulch that I was spreading, I realized I'm allergic to whatever is making this mulch red, and my arms turned all lumpy and bumpy, like Quasimodo arms or like an alligator, and they were so itchy. Anywhere that touched the mulch got so itchy, and so now all the mulching is done. But every time I'm outside, I start sneezing my brains out because I'm allergic to even just being in the air. But yeah, I didn't have to pay somebody to spread it, so could be worse.
We used to mulch, but then, well, I guess maybe you don't have termites there. They're like, you can get, they said you can get termites from using mulch. And I was like, Well,
I told you we
pebbles.
got rats from using bird feeders, right?
Oh, yeah. We just have rats from having 5 million horses that should be in the ground. So.
Do you, this is just a funny... Remember I was telling the Greasy Dad story last time. Did I ever tell the story about Dad taking me to see the Led Zeppelin concert in Toronto?
Oh, yeah. Well, it was Jimmy Page and Robert Plant.
Yeah, Page and Plant. Did I tell that story on this podcast?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, I was 14, and he knew I loved Led Zeppelin, I loved music and stuff, and so he took me.
Del Nilipez.
Yeah, that was my band name, Del Nilipez. He took me on a work flight to Toronto, and I stayed at the hotel with him. And then we went to see Page and Plant at the Sky Dome. It was like a huge deal for me. But we got stuck, so there were these bikers behind us, and they were old guys with gray hair, and they looked like pretty out of shape. And they didn't want to stand up. And there was this young guy in front of us who wouldn't sit down. He was standing up the whole time. So, like, the bikers and us, we were kind of looking at this guy's back the whole time. And then, so I kind of stood up for a bit, and the biker kind of tapped me, and he was like, "Can you sit down, son?" I said, "Oh, okay, sorry." But then I didn't have a view of the concert. So Dad tapped the guy in front of us, and he was like, "Do you mind sitting down?" And the guy kind of pushed him and said, "Fuck off." So Dad took off his watch and gave it to me and said, "Hold this." And I said, "What for?" And before I could finish asking, he had jumped on this guy and was punching him in the head, like beating the guy about the head. And then the bikers behind us joined in and jumped over me. I had this big guy's belly pushing me down into the seat. And they were just wailing on this guy. And, well, the guy kind of pushed Dad, I think is how it started. But anyway, security came. And the bikers backed Dad up, and they were like, "Yeah, that cocksucker was starting, he pushed this guy around, he's on drugs, blah, blah, blah." And they were taking the guy away, and the guy spit at Dad, and Dad said, "Yeah, your dad should have jerked you off 25 years ago, son." And that would have done the world a favor.
I remember that. I remember him telling me that.
It took me like 15 years to understand what he meant by that. Why would his dad jerk him off? I was like, "Oh, I get it."
I remember him telling that story so vividly. Well, both my kids are home now, so I'm going to have to go and parent. But, hey, weirdos, don't forget to send in your stories. If you're listening, One Foot in the Grave podcast at gmail.com. Or you can do it through the website. I've actually, I don't have access to that email address anymore.
You know what? I think after you hang up, I think I know the password for that email address. Because I have it in my
Just
phone.
say it now. Just say it now.
Yeah.
All right, weirdos. Well, we'll talk to you next time. Hey, I'll be in Canada. We'll do this do together for real.
That'll be good. I need some good mics. I don't know. I saw a review of this microphone, the Blue Yeti that I'm using. Yeah. And it was like, this is a terrible microphone.
Oh, well, I mean, Jake, it does the job.
I don't know.
What are we doing? We didn't even have a topic.
Time, but I did have full-blown COVID on the last recording.
We don't even have a topic for each episode. This is not high quality.
It's complete garbage. But
you know people listen to this.
We got an hour and 8 minutes of this one that I can put on in the car on my way to Miramichi on Sunday. So
there you go. And then you've only got 7 more hours of driving left to do.
I just got an email to One Foot in the Grave podcast from Instagram. It invites us to see what's been happening on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, it does. Well, I guess you can check the emails then. That can be your job.
Yeah. So do use that email address. Until I get a new phone, it's active.
Yeah, and send us your stories. If you've got funny stories, weird stories, spooky stories.
Yeah, it's good to hear from
send them through. Yeah. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you later.